What is up, everybody? Welcome to Hypothetical Comedy podcast. My name is Funky Sam Medina.
And I am Athena Rodriguez.
And we are here today with a New York comedian, Angela. How you doing, Angela?
Woo!
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, thank you for being here. How's life in New York been treating you since you've been back?
Yeah.
Pretty good. It was really hot today.
Oh my
but
gosh.
Can't complain.
I don't think that's exclusive to New York. We've had a heat wave here. It's been insane.
It was actually a really cold month. Like it was a really cold month of June. It was like normally, as from what I can remember, because I haven't lived here in almost 10 years, from what I can remember, it was always like hot in June. And then all of a sudden it's like 50 degrees.
Oh, wow.
I probably shouldn't be bragging about that.
Sounds so nice.
I know, right? We're over here dying of heat exhaustion. But that's okay. That's okay. Enjoy your 50-degree weather.
Oh, it wasn't that today, though.
Oh,
it was
okay.
90 degrees and humid and horrible, and it will probably be that way the rest of the summer, I'm sure.
Ouch. Well, that's fun. So how has it been being back? Like, have you been getting on shows? Have you been doing that kind of like going out and doing comedy? You've only been back for like a week or two?
No, about
A month? Okay. How's that been going?
I really haven't had time. I feel like a bad comedian. I really haven't had time to go out and do stuff just because things are on so late, but I'm familiar with the scene here, so I'm hoping to get back on and doing shows soon. I'm also in the process of planning another tour, but that's probably going to be pushed back to later fall, just because I'm in between job hunting right now, and also gas prices are outrageous. And like the funding for it, because I self-funded my tour last year. So so it's like I really want to get back on stage again because I really miss it. Like I love the Zoom comedy, don't get me wrong. But at some point you're just kind of like, I can only perform in front of a screen.
Totally.
And see my reflection looking back at me the whole entire time. It's like my reflection is getting sick of me practicing these jokes. So once things settle down a bit and I have a little bit more of a steady income, then I can think about going on shows and going on stage again. But I hopefully it will happen soon. So anybody who's in my area, definitely you want to reach out to me about that.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, us too. I mean, we haven't been doing a lot of comedy lately. We've been kind of going here and there, doing some shows and stuff, but not a super lot. So definitely understand on that one. Yeah.
And it's hard with like working full time and everything. Just
yeah, it is. And gas prices, like you said, it's like, do I really want to go anywhere?
Go back to riding bikes all the time.
Yeah, good luck with that. So you mentioned your tour that you did. Tell us about the baby tour, how that went, how that was, and
oh, it was awesome, but it was definitely a lot of work, as I'm sure you guys remember.
Yeah.
Because it's like one of those things where you were still working full time and having to cram it in over the weekends. And I was like looking back on photos of it last year, and I'm just like, what happened to me? Like I was doing all of that last year, and now I'm just like, oh, I have to put this off. But going back to last year's experience, it was something I needed to do to get out of the house, because like we were all, being trapped in the house for so long. And I was just like, I can't have another summer like that. So that's why that came about. It was kind of a way to like meet all of the Zoom comedians that I had met. So it'd be like, oh, what if I do all these shows and like book them all? And it sounded like a great idea at first. And then you realize like halfway between, you're like, what did I get myself into? This is insane. And you're just driving all the time. And thankfully we didn't have the gas price issues like we do now.
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh
Absolutely.
my goodness.
I'm so thankful I did that last year.
How many places did you hit?
I did. How many places did I hit? I should have known this answer already.
Like it was a lot.
I think it was like 10 maybe.
See, it was not that much. Sam, you're giving me too much credit.
Oh, I guess I am.
Unless if you count like if I did the spontaneous like one-liner joke when I was like out and about.
At the grocery store.
I feel like
I
that
told a
counts.
joke at a gas station, and that counts as a show.
I agree. Do you have
Let's see.
do you have any like super like funny story or anything like crazy that happened to you during that time frame?
Oh, um, there's a couple, but like one of my favorite ones is I don't know if you remember me posting about this, but I did 2 shows in Pittsburgh last year, and I used to live there for a bit. And I kind of like went back and saw some of my old friends. And on one of the days, I was just kind of like, walking around downtown, and I'm just like taking it all in, kind of like my old Angela days, like back when I was in my early 20s and I thought I was still cool. And I'm just old and not cool anymore, apparently. And one of my favorite parts about touring was like you just go around and you meet so many different people. And I'll never forget this after one of my Pittsburgh shows when I was just walking around and I came across this girl who was wearing like this silk robe with all this bling on the back. And I was like, oh, these are my people, because I love I love rhinestones. And she's like wearing these fuzzy sandals. And I'm very curious as to why she's just walking around and there's somebody with her wearing a suit. And they like have an iPad up, like, and I'm not being stalkerish, but sometimes when you come across people like that, you kind of want to know where the story ends. Keep in mind, I'm familiar with this area, but they looked super confused, like they were lost. And I'm like, I gonna not be a creep, but I just think they're lost. And I just kind of like heard them talking. It's like, oh, well, we're looking, we don't know where this street is, blah, 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 blah. And I said, hey, if you don't mind, I'm actually going that direction. Do you want me to show you where you're going? To find out they're looking at for a steak restaurant. So they're like, do you know where this steak restaurant is? And it's like, well, I'm a vegan, so I don't know if it's a good one or not. That's the first question, wrong question to ask me. Do you know if this is a good one? And I'm just like, I'm sure it's great because it's in a very expensive part of town. So I'm sure it's going to be great. So anyways, they trusted me enough to let me show them where it was, even though I made that awkward intro, which is what I do, is make awkward intros like that. We're walking over and I'm talking to them, and come to find out there was this big women's bodybuilding convention going on at the same time. Like the girls wearing the bikinis and like posing, and she was like a big deal. And they're like, why are you in town? And I'm like, I'm a stand-up comedian and I'm on tour. And I'm like, oh, that was like the stupidest thing you could have said. People will be like, because you always get compared to somebody. They're like, oh, are you like Amy Schumer, or are you like Tina Fey? They're like, oh, that's so cool. I've never met somebody like that. And I gave them like all my social handles and whatever. And we were just chatting. We get to the steak restaurant and I was like, oh, well, here's your restaurant. And I went off to get some vegan food. She's like, hey, wait, I want a picture with you. And I do have a photo with her to this day. And it went up on my page and I tagged her in. And I was like, so today on tour, I met a bodybuilder. And that was like my most liked photo on tour. And I'm pretty sure it was because of me, not because of the very fit female bodybuilder that's in the photo with me. But yeah, you can, if you guys follow me, that if you go back like a year, you can find that. But that was like one of my favorite stories. If you want to talk about performing when I was doing a show,
like all ready to go look right now.
Put your phone down.
I know. Right?
Get on Facebook.
Be liking stuff from a year ago.
They
like
were so nice. They were so nice and we're so appreciative. And they're like, oh, we got to follow you and we want to see you on tour and everything. I'm like, well, here are my tour dates if you have to. I know that they're like, if like I ever make it big, and wouldn't it be funny if I like have a Netflix special and she's like in the front row.
You'll notice by her fluffy.
She'll be flexing.
Where?
She'll be flexing in the audience.
I thought about it though, because like I was trying to look it up, because like you try to look up like different gigs and stuff. And I was like, I wonder if at these conventions, if they have downtime and there are people that come in and do entertainment. Like,
That's smart.
Oh, they probably do. I mean,
yeah, because don't they have to like
maybe not
change the
necessarily
set somehow?
bodybuilding, but I'm sure they do on some conventions. Yeah, absolutely.
You could have like me, and then Paul could come over and make balloon animals.
Yeah.
You're like, what's up, everybody? It smells like suntan lotion here.
He could be like, he could pull out his magic wand in the Slim Jim and they could offend everybody.
People get offended by that?
No, I'm just kidding. Because they're bodybuilders. They wouldn't touch a Slim Jim.
They would be tempted. They're like, oh, I must. I'm just getting to a more comfortable part. Like, my chair is really uncomfortable. Don't mind me. I'm sitting on the floor, but we're not filming this. So,
Okay,
hold on. This is such a hot mess right here. People that are going to listen to this are going to be like, what the heck? Who is this person talking about meeting bodybuilders? And there was also another moment. This is a little more funny, but I went to one of my old favorite spots. Like, I'm going to be talking about Pittsburgh a lot just because I live there and I did 2 shows there. But one of my favorite spots is, I don't know if anybody else knows this, but you know, Mr. Rogers is from that area.
Okay.
And
I didn't know
and
that.
one
I
of the,
love Mr. Rogers.
yeah, there's this huge memorial statue of him next to Steelers Stadium.
Oh, wow.
And last summer, yeah, huge statue. There's a photo of me next to the statue as well. So just like, it's like, instead of where's Waldo, where's Angela, and you see like, if like somebody mentions something in Pittsburgh, most likely there is a photo of me in front of it. And even before this whole trip, like, I lived there for 4 years, so people are like, oh, there's this famous blah 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 thing in Pittsburgh. I'm like, yeah, I live there. I drove by it every day. I'm like, it's nothing that special. It's like a stone slab in the middle of a busy intersection, and I saw it all the time when I was stuck in traffic. There's nothing that special about it.
I like the idea of someone trying to be a tour guide for you, and you're like, no, I know all the spots.
Look, I used to live there. That guy was my roommate for 3 years.
I always joked about it because, like, a couple of people that I met on tour, they were like, oh, Pittsburgh, I've always wanted to go. I'm like, don't spend your money.
No, you don't.
On the tourist stuff, just let me know when you're going to be in town. I will give you the Angela tour, because the Angela tour is way better. Because first of all, it's free, and who wouldn't want a tour given by me? Oh, I did give an Angela tour of my hometown when I was back here doing a show last summer to one of the other comedians, and I won't say who it was, but we had a great time. And we ran into some interesting people while we were doing it. Like, you know, there's always some like another great tour story. We're just like going around downtown where I grew up, but this is like really nice area, and then we got accosted by some guy who was like high out of his mind, just
okay, that's fine.
And I'm doing the Angela tour, like, oh, this is like this historic park, and
no, more like Angela tour, like, what's in this dark alley?
Right. They're like, is this part of the tour?
Why are we in a van and tied up? Is this part of the tour?
I still think it's funny you ask, like, oh, talk about like how you produce your comedy tour. Well, there's always going to be somebody getting the Angela tour of some place. This is how it works, and this is how I weed out who are going to be like the long term. So by the Mr. Rogers statue, I was just like sitting there, and there's like, I was journaling because I was going through a lot at the time. Like, everybody knows my sad backstory. We don't need to really talk about my origin story here. But if you haven't heard my origin story, and if this is your first time being introduced to me, I went through a tragic loss 2 years ago. That was when I had lost my life partner. And I was a year bereaved at this point, a little over a year bereaved. No need for condolences right now. There's been plenty of that over the past couple of years. But anyways, I was sitting there, and I was like kind of going around the different spots that I promised I was going to take him. That was part of the trip and part of the tour. And I'm just sitting by the Mr. Rogers statue, and I'm writing in this little journal. And do you ever notice that you sometimes, this is where it's going to get a little spiritual, sometimes you make a connection with somebody and you don't even have to say anything to them. You just make a connection with people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another great story. There was just these people riding bicycles around because there was this like little bicycle tour going on, and there was like little maps people had so they could like ride around Pittsburgh, and they like checked off on their map like little landmarks that they saw. I didn't make that tour map, by the way.
It's like a favorite tour. That's the the easy tour.
And yeah, and also much more like a physical activity because you have to bike right around. And there was like a lot of bikers that day, and it must have been because like I remember like a lot of people were biking around, and then like the Mr. Rogers statue must have been like the very final thing for people to find, because they were like checking it off on their little maps, and they're like taking selfies in front of it, like, I completed the tour. Now we're gonna go and get a big burger at the pub that's across the street and you know, replenish all those calories we worked off. But I'm really long-winded with how I tell stories, and I know but this is a great one because I wrote about it in my journal. And if the individual who saw me that day, like I just guy comes over who's on a bicycle, and he was doing a bicycle photo shoot, which was funny enough to witness. Like, he's got his little bike shorts on, he's posing on his bike, he had a water bottle, he's like squirting it on himself and like getting photos taken, and I'm trying not to crack up. And I really wanted to like, I didn't do TikTok yet, but if I did, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's like getting a bicycle photo shoot. And I knew the harsh reality is this individual was probably paying a lot of money for these photos, and I'm just sitting there laughing because I didn't see the photographer at first. I thought this guy was just like showing off. I'm like, who is he showing off to? Like, I mean, and there could be people like that. It's like, if you are that fit and you're biking around, you want people to look at you. Maybe he was making a TikTok. I don't know. It could have been a TikTok how to pose on a bicycle to make it look like you're actually athletic when you're not. Could have been a thing. But I look over and I see there's a photographer, and he's got like the big equipment on him and the big fancy camera, and he's like crouching down and like doing all the angles. And I made eye contact with the photographer, and I thought, that is a really handsome man. And he was a very handsome man. He kind of looked like, you know, kind of, I guess you would say like a hipster, but he was also buff, long hair. And I made eye contact with him. I'm like, now that is a handsome man. And we had a connection, but we didn't speak anything to each other. So I moved on to the next spot that I wanted to go to. And I went and got lunch at a place, and there was Bike Man with the photographer. And I made eye contact with the photographer again. And I was just like, we have a connection. And there's this really famous fountain downtown. And that's where I used to go and hang out, like back when I still lived there. And I was just sitting there writing in my journal. I was kind of feeling sad at the time. I was just like, oh, this really stinks. I have to like do all this like stuff by myself. I have to do this tour alone. And bike guy comes over, and that's when I saw him like spraying all the water on him with the water bottle. And I just started cracking up again. And that's when I made eye contact with the photographer. I'm like, this man is my soulmate. I don't know what his name is. We didn't speak words to each other, but we made a connection that day. And he probably is like, who is this jerk that's laughing at my client? Or maybe he's thinking like, yeah, my client's ridiculous, but you know what? He's paying me a lot of money for these photos. I really want to do a set about it, but I know like if I ever go back to that city, there will be somebody in the crowd be like, hey, that was me.
Oh my gosh, that's a great story.
So those were two of them. And then of course, like in New York, like I make jokes about it. Like we had some great experiences with some people. Like I had great experience with the comedians. Like when you walk down and you get accosted by the guy who is high out of his mind downtown.
I think the best part of hanging out with comedians, besides being at a venue, is that you get to experience each other's like weird day, like together.
Yeah.
because a lot of weird shit happens to people and they totally bypass it. But when there's somebody there with you to witness it, you guys are looking at each other like, what the hell is this? Why is this happening?
Yeah, definitely.
And to answer your question, it was 6 cities I went to. I had 6 stops.
Nice.
Wow.
That's amazing. 6 cities.
That's awesome.
It sounds more impressive than it really was. But
I mean, unless they're all next to each other.
What was that?
It's unless they're all next to each other, but I'm sure they were spread out a little bit.
I had some back-to-back shows. Like I had to go from Pittsburgh to Akron, Ohio, which was like a 2.5-hour drive. So I had a show in Pittsburgh one night and then had to go to Akron, Ohio the next day. So it was a lot of that.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting though.
It's
living on the land, making the best out of times.
And it was always a risk because it's kind of like, if you did it like Pittsburgh, I was familiar with the people. These were people I had performed with before. But it's always kind of like, you could walk into a venue that's a dump. You could show up and there's like 2 people in the audience.
Yeah.
There could be comedians bailing on you. It's a whole real stressful thing. Like,
at some point we want to do the same thing, but yeah, those are like concerns we have with possibly going on tour and creating like booked venues and having other people in the mix.
Yeah, definitely.
I can talk about this a year later now, but since we're talking about this subject, I'm not going to call anybody out, but the people who did it, you know who you are. And I'm giving you the look of shame right now.
It's pretty impressive, you guys. If you could see it, oh man,
it's shameful.
Shaking in my boots.
The look of shame is for people who, not the people that, like, I'm not mad at anybody, but a couple of individuals who were supposed to be an individual who was supposed to be my opener.
Oh, dang.
And I knew blew off the show. It's
only one let everyone know her eyebrows went up when she did that look, so you know.
And her nostrils flared.
She means business.
Did those nostrils flare? That's
my thing is,
you were able to plan like a little tour, like the baby tour, like you called it, on your own, without like manager and without like knowing the venues ahead of time.
It was insane.
This stuff. So it was definitely DIY at its best.
But what I was gonna say, I didn't mean to get on that tangent there. It was only an issue with one person out of all the shows. I only had an issue with one person the entire time, and they know who they are. Not gonna say who. But all I was gonna say is the New York show almost didn't happen. Like, that's a stressful thing. And I planned this like down to the wire. I was down to the wire with my venue for my New York show the day of the show. I had people coming in from out of town. I had people who were already in town. I'm picking people up from train stations and bus stations. And I'm just like, what if this doesn't go through? We don't have a show. Like, I thought we were going to be performing like in a street somewhere.
Oh, wow.
But it's just like, when you really think, like, whatever you think, it's like, if things are meant to happen, they really do happen. Because I had 2 venues cancel on me because COVID regulations were still super strict, and apparently like people would be like, oh yeah, you can do this, and then management's like, no, we're not doing that. I had a venue that said, yeah, we're all for this, we want to get people back in and doing shows, and then they're like, we don't do comedy here. And
oh wow.
And I was like, well, that's a punch to the gut. And then I remember just spending a day, like, if anybody here wants to do what I did, the only person that you are going to have in your corner is yourself, and you have to believe in yourself. Because I could have said right there, I'm like, well, this final stop isn't going to happen. I've only embarrassed myself by announcing it, and I've only embarrassed myself by booking the show on with other people who are coming out of state who are really excited to perform in New York. But I was like, I'm not going to let them down and I'm going to make this work. And I was just calling out to all these different venues. And the very last one on my list, I called and I got the manager on the phone. I said, hey, and you always want to open it by pitching an idea like, this is what I want to do. I can do this for you. And it was like mind-blowing experience. It was the venue I got was amazing. They said, we've been trying to get comedy back here ever since things reopened after COVID. And
wow.
I was
That's
like,
exciting.
are you kidding me? And they're like, well, what can you bring? I'm like, I've got people coming from New York City. I have a comedian from Jersey. I have a comedian from Philadelphia. We have people coming from all over to do this. I'm headlining. I was coming in from Ohio, but I'm like, hey, I grew up here. Do your girl a favor. And I say, but you always want to pitch it. Like, this is what I could do for you. And I had it set that, like, you know, you always want to think of things kind of like a business transaction. And it's like, I can do this for you. You have your people coming in and we're going to put on a show. And they got their like max capacity of people approved. Like you have to go through these state regulations and stuff the day of my show.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
It was down to the wire.
Oh,
and I was just like, I'm still gonna push through and do this. And if we show up and they say, oh, this didn't get approved, we will perform outside on the sidewalk because we're still gonna do something. And I mean, I'm not gonna waste my comedian's time.
Wow.
A lot of people don't realize the comedians who were on the show with me, like two of the comedians, like bless their hearts, like they were amazing. And they knew what was going on because I was like, okay, here's the deal. I didn't find this out until recently. This person couldn't make it. And like, besides the one person I had issues with, everybody else I didn't have a problem with. It was just like the perfect storm. So it's like, somebody's like, this emergency came up. I can't come. So it's kind of like, okay, we'll get somebody else then. Oh no, I can't come. And it's just the nature of what happens. You deal with it all the time and you're like, roll with the punches. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, all right, here's what's going on. This is the new person who's on the show. And it ended up being a great time. It was the first show that the venue had ever since COVID. And we got comedy going again at that venue. And it was all my final show on tour and having all these out-of-state comedians. Wow. It was awesome. Everyone had a great time. There were a lot of laughs. I have my set recorded from that night. And actually, I need to go back there to perform again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, you should maybe talk to that place and see do a regular thing there now that you're back in New York.
Yeah, I know they have a regular like open mic going on.
Okay.
So if I come back and I'll just be like, hey, remember what I did for you guys? Like,
remember, I got comedy going here again.
So after your baby tour, did you notice like a significant change in the confidence that you had?
Yeah, because again, this was like my first big project after my loss. And it was kind of like how do I want to put this? Like, I had to prove that I was going to be okay doing it without him being there. Yeah. And I had to remind myself that I've done this without him being there, but he was a lot better at the marketing and producing and everything than I ever would have been. But it's one of those things, like, it was really easy to wallow and think I wasn't going to be good at it. But I realized after doing all of that and everything that I survived through last summer, I'm like, I was really proving this to myself. And I was like, oh, I'm doing it in memory of him and everything. And that was all good and whatever. But I'm like, I just did this whole thing to prove to myself that I could do this. And I said that to a close friend who also was a mutual friend of ours. And I was like, I think that's why I did it. And she was like, yeah, I knew that all along. She's like, I hope you were going to figure that out. Like, yeah, you can handle it. Because there was a lot of doubt throughout it. I will admit it. There were days where, like, even like the day before shows where you would just be like, oh my gosh, should I even do this? What if nobody shows up? It's like, well, I better get my butt to these shows because I spent all this time driving out and advertising and marketing. And I ultimately don't want to let the producers down or the other comics down or other people that are coming down. And if people are going to come to see you headline, they're not going to think like, oh, well, Angela just decided not to show up today. Well, that's great.
Bougie Angela.
Or it could be people that never even heard of you or just happened to hear you that one time and you could have gained a whole new fan base. It's part of that whole thing. So it kind of gave me the boost that I know I can do this. I've done it once before. I know I can do it again. I know the amount of work that goes into it. I think it makes you a better coach for other people. Going through something like this, it is not easy doing it. I highly recommend not doing it by yourself with no straws to grasp at, because this was all based off previous producing experience and also self-funding it. You have to make sure you have the funds. I've seen people attempt tours with no idea whatsoever, and you can't go into anything without a plan. Right. You always have to plan everything out, or else it is going to fail. And you need to do it months in advance. Don't try to put anything together within like a month's notice, because you have to. A lot of times places are backed up. You need to do marketing. You need to call out to these places and see what they're doing. And think a lot of it like it gave me a lot of confidence, like even with what I'm doing now, because right now with going through like changing careers and interviewing for jobs, I'm just like, I basically did a lot of this last summer, because a lot of times when you were calling out to venues and saying like, hey, I want to do this show, blah, 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 I can do this for you. You're doing a sales pitch the whole time. I'm like, I've been doing this nonstop. Like, why am I concerned about what I'm going through right now? So it makes you confident more as a performer, but also it really helps your confidence and help my confidence in my personal life, just with what like I was going through with changes, and also making that change with realizing that I knew I was ready to move. I knew I needed to get back to New York. I knew I needed to do what I needed to do to really ultimately pursue this dream, which, I mean, it's only been like a month. I have to be easy on myself, but I know that it's something that I really want to do long term. And I was just like, why am I still stuck out in the Midwest? Like, this is so stupid. So it really gave me that confidence boost to want to be producing more often, and also giving other people the opportunity, and maybe down the road coaching people if they ever wanted to do this. So yeah, that was a big accomplishment, but yeah, that was great. Yeah, definitely.
That's great.
That is a big accomplishment. That's awesome. That's awesome. And another thing is you do a lot of crafting.
Yeah.
And you've incorporated crafting into comedy with your show Crafts and Laughs. How did you come up with that, and how's that been going for you?
I love it.
And she loves it.
I've been trying to expand it for a while now. I still think so. If anybody's not familiar with it, Crafts and Laughs is my creation, which basically is a combination of comedy and crafting. And I was realizing that I've always loved crafting. I've been doing it my whole life, and I think it's a very therapeutic therapeutic outlet is what I want to say, not outlet. I highly recommend.
You've been doing too much emailing, Angela.
That's I have been. Yeah, it's called submitting job applications all day, and I'm just looking at my emails, waiting for that job offer. But I realized that in addition to people who are performers, there's a lot of creative people that I met. And I'm like, why don't people really have a platform to showcase this off? Because I think sometimes people get in their heads, like, if you're a singer, you're a singer. That's what you do. And there's nothing else distinguishable to their personality. Or you're a musician, that's what you do. You're a comedian, you tell jokes. And like, they're just put these people in bland, like, one word boxes. Like, that's what describes them. And a lot of people do have creative outlets, and there are so many different types of art. There's so many different types of crafting. And originally how it started was, it was originally going to be a one-man show when I was planning. And it was just going to be me. I then crochets, that I was just gonna tell some jokes throughout a show and show off what I had for sale and take breaks and be like, I have this for sale and blah, 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 blah. And it was actually an idea my late partner gave to me when we were originally going to do a show in New York City that we were going to call it Angela's. It was a really boring name. It was just going to be like Angela's comedy craft fair. And I was like, why would it be a comedy craft fair? And the reason why it was going to be called the comedy craft fair was because I've always wanted to produce my own craft fair. I still want to do that at some point. Wow. And but it's a lot of work. You have to like, there's all these like regulations and tax laws and everything, but I'll be able to do that. That's just all busy paperwork, but it's still a dream of mine to do that within the next couple of years. And I remember talking to Turtle Dad, that's who I call him, and I was like, why is it called Comedy Craft Fair? And he's like, well, because I'm gonna be there. And I originally, the idea was there's a craft fair, there's like a show going on while people are shopping, was the idea. And I had a lot of friends who are artists, and it's like there could be people doing poetry readings, there could be people doing music, there could be people doing stand-up, which just would have been him. I'm like, okay, I guess we can call it that. But I really pushed him on that idea because I was like, oh, that's actually brilliant. Because you think about it, like you could have a bunch of artists come in and show off their art, and there could be a show going on at the same time. There's really nothing that's been like that, and that's ultimately what I want to do if I bring this into life in person. And I was just like, but you're really talented. And I pushed him to that. And I was like, why don't you have your stuff out there? He's like, I don't think anybody would want to see it. But he did pottery, he did photography. I'm like, you have some really good photography out there. You could do prints, like people buy prints. Yeah. And he like took photography classes and stuff. I'm like, why don't you do this? And it's like, I mean, I'll have my stuff there, but like it could be like a gallery. People could buy your stuff, and sure, you could go on stage and do a set if you want to. We'll just put you towards the end once the kids are out. So it's either that or you're doing clean humor. And he despised doing clean humor. I don't know why. I thought his clean humor was very funny. But that was the original idea for it. And so Crafts and Laughs came about when I was very lonely during COVID. And I was just like, well, I did the one-man show, and it was before I really started meeting other comedians through the power of Zoom, before Hypothetical Comedy, when I started joining. And once I started getting a following, I had put a post out, and I was just like, hey, I don't know. I thought nobody was going to respond to it, just thinking like, oh, that show is fun, but it would be really fun if I had guests on the show. So that's when I got the courage to put out a post. I'd be like, hey, if anybody's an artist, you have crafts to share, I'm looking to have some guests come on the show. Mm-hmm. And just message me. That's what I remember. Sam messaged me, and you were like, well, I don't craft, but Athena does.
Yeah, I craft macaroni and cheese.
I would love to have an episode where somebody just does that, just does noodle art. Like, if I got it,
that would be great.
If there's a noodle artist out there, I have seen some people who do really elaborate things.
You could do great macaroni art if you paint the macaroni and arrange it correctly.
Oh yeah,
right. It's like I've seen ones where people do it, and it like looks like mosaics, and like you said, they paint it, and they do like different shapes of pasta, and I think that's just a way that people are kind of preparing for the next like apocalypse. It's just like, it's really art, but they could just tear it off their wall and
right. Boil it. Get the paint thinner.
It's all purple.
Just make sure there's no lead paint on it.
Soak in the paint thinner overnight and then boil it.
That would be an interesting way how people stock up for food, or like, you just pull out all those macaroni necklaces, Hopefully your mom saved all those macaroni necklaces you made for Mother's Day or whatever. I am getting sidetracked again, but yeah. So anyways, people started reaching out. I started booking people, and within 2 weeks I had an entire year booked because I just do one show a month. And I was like, oh, I didn't think that there were that. I knew there were talented people, but like not that many. And every month had a theme. And I was like, and then people started messaging me like, I want to be on your show. And I'm like, you're gonna have to wait till 2022.
Yeah. I'll get you in 17 months. You're good.
It's a good problem. It's a good problem.
Yeah. So I've already like got people booked out to 2023 with the show.
Wow.
And I'm just like,
congrats.
It just fills up so quickly. And not everybody has to be a crafter. I'll take funny people, because if there's not a crafter on it, I provide the crafts. But the majority of people are. I try to give our artists presidents over, but I also like to give other funny people a platform. I have had people who don't have any comedy background who are on the show who are just really talented. I've had anywhere from people who do this full time, their art. I've had working moms on the show. I've had people just starting, people who do it as a hobby, people who, kind of do things on the side, or just wanted to show off stuff that they've already made. And not even show off, or even people that don't have it necessarily as a business. Like, you have it as a business, great, and then that way you can like promote it. But I just wanted to give it as a platform, and I wanted to show other people. The purpose of it is to show that it doesn't matter if you're a funny person or whatever your like main talent is, or even if you're just a civilian, if you don't like to be a performer, but just to give a platform to other people. To show that there are different types of art out there, and there are different types of people who are interested in that. There might be some people who really don't open up about their art, or don't even open up about that it's a therapeutic thing. And I just think that that was the point of it, to showcase as many different people and many different individualities as possible. So that's like, I remember the episode with Athena.
I couldn't get my camera to... And my camera was sideways, and I was like this the whole time.
I was not going to say anything about that. I thought it was great. That was so funny, because like, I remember I'd had a bigger show before that, and I was really nervous for that show. And then once I got onto my own show that I produced, I'm like, okay, now I can take a breather and I can relax. And I was like eating dinner throughout that show. I'm like, this was a whole hot mess, but it's so funny. You and I just remember we were cracking up the entire time. But we talked about art and the importance of it. You showed off some of your pieces, and we just talked, about how that was really a healing thing in your life, and still continues to be. And that's like how it is be with my crochet and stuff. And everybody can say that, anybody who's been on the show, I always make a handmade gift for everybody that I send to them. Now everybody will want to get on the show just for the free gifts, I'm sure. But that's my way of paying people. But it's just like, that's really was the point of it. And that was like the brainchild where it came from. Hopefully this could be like a live thing down the road. Like, hopefully
like super awesome.
Yeah, because there's really not anything like that out there. And it's just like trying to change it to something that's different, to make people want to come out to shows and like see something different, because anybody can think like, oh, it's a comedy show, you sit there and you're expected to laugh. But I'm like, what if there are people that go along and kind of think of it like it's no different than if people have like merch or stuff. But anybody can make a t-shirt or something, even though I do like the hella jokes shirt. Like
she designed it. Yeah,
I love it.
I do like that shirt. I have to find it after I packed. It's a lot of my stuff is still packed. I'm not kidding. I'm still kind of living out of a suitcase at this point. It's like unpacking. What is that? So
right.
Because if I unpack anything, that's when I'm going to get the opportunity to like go on tour for a month, and then I have to put everything.
Oh, I got to pack now.
Then I'll have to put everything in a suitcase again, and it's really stupid. And why do I want to put myself through that? So,
was there something that you saw on the craft show, your craft show? And then I do want to also say, you're right. There's not a lot of showcasing for crafts out there.
Mhm.
Was
No.
there something on your show that you saw a craft that like blew your mind?
I've seen a lot of stuff that's blown my mind, and it's gonna sound corny, but it's a lot of stuff that's been on each person I've had has blown me away in some way, shape, or form. I will say, like, Athena, you were probably one of my favorite guests, like especially like with your artwork. That like really was incredible seeing your
Yeah,
artwork,
she's
even
really
like
good.
all your, but like your just like your freehand paintings. I was just like I remember your glow in the dark paintings. I thought those were so cool. Um, I also had, everybody knows who Ian is at this point. He's more popular
Yeah.
than me. He was a nobody when I started, and
Oh,
like I'm
dang.
annoyed that he's oh, and everybody loves him. It's like I do. It's like, when is Ian gonna come back on a live stream again? I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's
Oh, people ask
it's
you
like,
that?
No, it's fine.
yeah. It's like, but
Oh,
hopefully,
that
like,
Ian. I'm sorry. I thought you meant the other Ian.
no, Ian, that I do. We have also the mystery unboxing show.
Yeah, I remember.
that
Yeah.
you've
I remember the
probably
unboxing
seen.
you did. I remember that. Yes,
And
I
then
was
we
thinking
did.
a different Ian.
When is there another Ian? Like,
There's too
only
many
one.
Ians. All right.
There's only one that matters, and I would love to make him like the vice president of crafting comedy career, like when we expand
Wow,
and get bigger.
nice.
But he'll probably be like, no, I want my own thing. But when he started off, he just had his like tiny little business and was making his little polymer clay creatures that are
Yeah.
called ookaloos.
They're so cute.
Go check it out. But I remember one of my favorite screen grabs was, there's a photo of me just making this shocked face that's like got around a few times, and it was because he had an ukulele that like wasn't just a sculpture, but you could unscrew the head off, and there was like a little container inside of it.
Oh,
And I like made this
wow.
big surprise place because I just wasn't expecting him to like pop the head off one of the sculptures, and I was just like, that was startling, but also it was just so cool. And just what I love the most, like, dude, it's not art that blows me away. It's more like hearing people's story about it. Like, I always like to ask, like, what's your inspiration for your art? What's your inspiration for doing this? Or why did you even want to start doing it? Because people have different interests for different crafts, like how I do the crocheting and knitting, but some people really like, I had a embroidery artist once,
Oh,
and I have
nice.
no patience for it whatsoever, but I appreciate the heck out of it when I can see somebody else doing cross stitch or embroidery, because it's so pretty, it's so dainty, and I do not have the patience to count all those tiny little squares to make something. And I love talking to other people who do it, but I will not do it because I'm just like, that is just way, no, that is too much. But I admire you for doing it, and thank you for being on the show, kind of thing. Yeah, but I don't think I've met a guest that I haven't liked, because I always do an interview with people beforehand just to make sure that they know what they're getting into and knowing what the show is. And like anybody who's done my show, I just say it's chill, it's a good time. We tell jokes, we talk about crafts, you show off what you're doing. We just want everybody to feel appreciated and loved here, and that they have a platform to talk for like 30 to 40 minutes. So yeah, but I'm trying to think of other people who might have blown me away. When I had Paul on my show, he was great too, because we did magic tricks the whole time.
Oh, I gotta
And
find
then-
that episode. That sounds fun.
That was back in November.
Oh,
And
I'm
then we
that
just
too.
shared, it was getting close to holiday season, because it was right around Thanksgiving, and then we just shared
Aw.
horror stories of working in retail
That
around the
sounds so fun
holidays.
and delightful.
And we were just laughing and just because we've all dealt with horrible customers,
Yeah.
especially working retail, and especially around the holidays. And I was sharing stories about how I tried to start a trend on TikTok where it's like, tell me you did this without telling me you did this. And mine was, tell me you worked retail during the holidays without telling me that you worked retail during the holidays. And my video got people legit mad for no stupid.
Wow.
All I said was, you know, you worked retail during the holidays because you know the lyrics to the song. Why can't I remember the name of the song now?
Is it
Christmas
Susie Snowflake?
No, but that's a terrible one too. Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses. And if you don't know what that song is, if you just put it into YouTube and you hear the first 10 seconds, I shouldn't tell Sam this because if I ever like
you should tell her kids.
No,
Yeah,
but you would recognize it because it's like one of those songs that they play in stores around Christmas. And as somebody who has worked retail during these times of year, you just hear it on repeat, and people got mad in the comments section, like, that's a good song. You're just bitter because you don't have the whole. I'm like, guys, it's supposed to be funny. And it's a song. Get over it. Like, we can all have opinions. Just because I say I dislike a song, I'm not mad at you if you like it.
That's
I probably would like it. I probably would have liked it if it wasn't blasting in my ear every third song. Well, working a part-time job when I was in college, working at a shoe store, that is no longer in business, by the way. You guys can probably all figure it out.
With TikTok, though, the algorithm is, even if people leaving angry comments, there's still comments, and it's still they're still bringing attention to your
still
post.
boosting it up.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as it like keeps it boosted, I really don't care. But
Yeah.
I just think that it's really funny
Oh
when
my gosh.
people just choose to get mad over the dumbest things.
Speaking of TikTok, I enjoy your TikToks. They are so fun to watch. You do duets, you do like, you know, replies to other TikToks, you do all kinds of really fun stuff. And I think one of your most popular TikToks is when you're the resident advisor at a school.
That was not supposed to blow up the way.
You're like, of all the things I did.
Right.
Oh, here's the funny story about that one. So it's, yes, I play a character as an RA. If nobody knows what RA, it's a resident assistant for colleges. It was kind of like somebody who would like monitor your wing or whatever floor you lived on, whatever. And it was here's the inspiration for it. It was, I don't know if you've seen, Athena's probably seen them. You know those videos where it was like girls would make these videos where they're like making fun of like different fashions, and it's like how girls got ready in 2005, and it's like whatever on trend it was back then. And they're like, I think those are so funny, and it's just like sometimes you're like watch those and you just cringe, like I'm reliving my high school years, or some of them I'm just like, some of the videos I cracked up at because I'm like, I actually did dress that way in college and I thought I looked so good, and why was that ever a trend? Some of the stuff I didn't do, like I never, thank goodness, I'm thankful to this day I never had the chunky highlight thing. I'm very grateful. I'm so thankful I never did that.
I would have probably been the chunky highlight person, I think maybe I was.
I made up for it in college when I was just completely blonde, and that like destroyed my hair. It was bleached so much, like, it's like, I think it's like now I'm back to like my natural color, but it's like that's my goal. I'm not touching the hair color in my 30s. I've already accepted the fact I've got enough grays. I digress again, but I wanted to do a kind of video relating to that because I went to more of a conservative college, and sometimes people were a little stricter with the dress codes, and sometimes there would be the RA that's like, oh no, you need to like put a cardigan on or something, or no, that wasn't, you can't dress like that. And so I was originally gonna do a video like, oh, getting ready for a day at your conservative college, or getting ready, and like I'm like originally was gonna do something like that, and my thing was like, it's such a different topic that a lot of people may not be familiar with. And also those like getting ready videos, like a lot of people were doing those though.
Mhm.
I was like, no, I'm gonna do just a one-off video where it's going to be me as my 19-year-old self going to the dance, and the RA is gonna be having a beef with me. And this is how you could tell it was too lonely, because I was just like, I'm just gonna do a one shot. It was just gonna be a one shot video. That's all I was gonna do. And I just came up with Janet the RA, who is my most popular, who's my most popular. I swear, and like Ian said to me, he's like, "Oh, you need to go on tour as Janet." I'm like, "Who is going to what? Who's going to watch that show? Like, am I just going to be insulting people in the audience? Like, what? Like, people would probably like it." So I just did this one-off video. It took a lot of takes for me to do it because I was just cracking up the entire time. And I I finally got through it, and I, went through, edited it, and that's like my favorite part of doing it, is just like going through and finding like the most awkward sound bit or music that you can put to it. And I thought like most of them will get like 20 views or something like that. And it just like blew up overnight.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at the comments on it, and I was just like, wow, this actually not only is it funny, it started a conversation with other people who dealt with this.
Yes.
So I
Wow.
kind of started a series, and just like with different topics and different stuff. And now I like would throw out polls and stuff like, oh, what should happen next? So now the Angela College universe is a whole thing now.
Wow.
And I'm just mind blown. Oh yeah, that's why it's a whole universe. And I kind of like did a spinoff because like I really love, I'll admit it, I love Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that the best series, I mean, I'm such a dork here, I'm gonna be a dork here for a minute. And I rewatched the whole series like during COVID. Obviously, it's just one of those feel good shows. And I feel a special bond with the show because it went off the air the year I was born, so everybody can figure out.
So old.
Did you say it went off the air the year you were born? Because I remember when the show debuted on television. I remember that.
I know, that's why I felt so old.
All right, this week is over. Goodbye, Angela.
How dare you age us?
I'm sorry, go on. Saved by the Bell.
It's a classic.
It is.
Oh, who were your favorite characters before I move on? Like,
well, Zach was always the coolest one. He had his cell phone and everything. But Slater was also really cool because the giant ass cell phone, right? But also as a kid, I was a fan of wrestling, and so I did like AC Slater because he was on the wrestling team. So I guess all of them,
in a special way,
in their own way. Yeah. And now to this day, my favorite is Mr. Belding because he is a huge wrestling fan, and once in a while he participates in WWE.
Yeah. Oh, the actor?
Yeah, the guy who plays Mr. Belding. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's there. He's backstage with them sometimes.
He's all up in that.
He hangs out with them.
I guess you have to do something like that if once you retire from being the principal on Saved by the Bell.
Iconic role. Iconic role. Everybody will recognize him, man.
Oh,
Who's
yeah.
Who's your favorite character on that show?
Oh my gosh. So I really like I always liked Jesse. because she was kind of like, you know, the high-powered feminist. But I liked Kelly as well. You know, you watched it as a kid and they were like the ideal couple, and then you watch it as an adult and I'm just like, oh, Zach is such a jerk. Like, why does she like keep putting up with him?
Looking back on the series, she should have been with Slater the whole time, because she was the cheerleader, he was the jock.
Did you ever see Funny or Die? How they have the video series. It's called Zach Morris's Trash.
Zach Morris's Trash. I've seen a couple of those. We should watch those. Yeah, they're really good.
It's so perfect. It's basically they just go through the entire series of Saved by the Bell, but they just have these 4-minute videos where they pull out like how Zach Morris was just the worst person. The entire show.
That's so crazy.
It's just like, and some of the stuff that happened on the show, like there's no way you can get away with it on television today, but back in the ye old 80s, it was a different time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ye old, how dare you?
But those times before you were born, any of us were born? Oh wait, no, I was born.
Yeah, I was born.
I was born.
I wasn't born till 92, so I just barely missed it. But I have my natural hair. I should have been born in the 80s because I would have fit in without getting those expensive perms. But it was but anyways, when I did Angela College Universe, I was kind of doing a spinoff of you know, how there was Saved by the Bell, and everybody knows that the classic original season, well, the first season is actually Good Morning Miss Bliss. I'm such a nerd, I know like the whole backstory of it. And then they were canned by the Disney Channel, and then they changed it to Saved by the Bell. But the original series is still the best, and the spin-offs afterwards are just bad. Like everybody knows that Saved by the Bell, the college years is just atrocious. It's like they graduate. That's the thing. Like you have this mindset, if it's a show about high school students, you only want to see them as high school students. You don't care what happens when they go off to college. Like, it's TV, it's reality. It's just like they move on, or make them flunk their senior year so they keep staying college students. Like,
people hold them back.
Like, here's the thing that would have happened in real life is like Zach Morris outside of Bayside High is going to be nothing when he goes to college, because college is filled with a bunch of jerks like he is. So it's like he was the king of Bayside, but like then I did remember watching there was like this cheesy Saved by the Bell direct-to-TV movie of like the Zach and Kelly wedding where they go to Vegas.
Yes,
and it was so bad.
And they had to get to Vegas, and it was like a road trip.
Yeah,
yes, I saw that.
They like get a speeding ticket in the middle of Nevada. It's like this dirt road in Nevada, and there just happens to be like a cop there. It's like
there's like nobody else for hours.
It just feels like sometimes you wonder with these TV writers, but it's just like we're just gonna like put a cut of like, what can we do to make it so this doesn't happen? And then like Zach's parents showed up at the end. We're like, oh, we're gonna give you this like multi-million-dollar wedding after all. I don't think it ended like that, but I just remember.
Be nice.
I know, right?
must be nice. Like only in Saved by the Bell land. But yeah, I love Saved by the Bell, so that's kind of like where I got the name from it, because it's like people, I feel like you know people's origin story, but right now it's like people only know me as who I am now, like, you know, all the comedy friends and everything. And it's like, oh, but Angela the College Universe is funny because it's kind of like some stuff that happened to me then ends up in my material now. And it's like kind of part of the origin story. I'm like, I don't know if people really care about it, but I'm glad people are appreciating it. And one thing I've learned is, even so, that was like kind of like a funny thing, like it started a great conversation. And it's just like, I dealt with that too. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of like something that happens in universities and colleges nationwide regarding like what their background is. It's just like so funny how people like monitor dress codes so strictly. And so there'll be more like series entries coming. I'm sure it's just the videos take a while to make and everything. So
plus, I mean, you put out a variety too. It's not always like her as like dealing with dress codes. You also have her just being ridiculous. Like one of my favorite ones was I think like she comes into your room and she's like, Angela, what are you doing awake?
Oh,
and you're like, I'm studying. That one is like my favorite so far of the whole series right now.
That was based off a story. I reconnected with an old friend who, well, not really an old friend. It was somebody, okay, this is weird. You ever know those people like you're aware of a person, right? And they say, you need to meet this person because you get along great. Yeah. And you're just like, whatever. So I'm supposed to meet a lot of people and you just never know when you meet people. So I kept hearing about this individual and we both went to the same college, but different years. He went to the college a few years before me and came across Crafting Comedy Cart, which was funny, and messaged me. And it was in my, you know how your folder has like the like it filters it, like, yes. Sat around in my request folder for a while and I found it and like kind of introduced himself. And it was like, found out we had met each other at one point, but apparently I don't remember because like didn't leave that much of an impression on me. And
cold-blooded.
I meet a lot of people. We had this
long talk. It was beautiful.
I meet a lot of people and people will be like, remember I saw you? We had one class in college together. And then we saw you again at so-and-so's wedding back in 2016. I'm like, life, so much has happened in my life since then that I don't remember weddings that I even gone to. Like, I'm sure I was there. I'm sure it was a great time, but it's
what
like,
if you were there meet cute and they were like thinking about you every day, saying you're like, I barely know who you are.
I don't remember you, sorry.
That would be so sad. It's like, you know, it would be like Doctor Who, like traveling through all the different universes. And and then you just get to that ultimate universe where you're supposed to be with that person, and then they're just like, what? I mean, I might have met you once, but I haven't given you a second thought since I walked past you on the elevator that one day. But anyways, I started chatting with this individual and I was like, what? We like different years but had a very similar experience. So he gave me the idea for that video. Like a lot of the videos, like it may not have been my experience directly, but it could have been like a friend of mine or I heard a story. And so it's usually when you put like the not my story sent to me, if you act something out. And I was like, told me that story and I was like, I have got to make this a video. Like it's just
because it just goes, you did it so well as the RA. You're just like you just come in and you're like, what are you doing?
That used to happen. Like people, like you would just have your door open, like whether you're just like sitting there studying or playing music. It's a Sunday afternoon, you're having a good time. Also, those dormitories would be like 1,000 degrees. So like people would have their doors open. And sometimes RAs would like look in there like they're making sure there's not a guy in there.
That makes sense.
Like they're not, and they're just their doors.
Well, you're breaking up again.
That makes a lot of sense why they do it, but it's just funny to me looking back on it. It's so funny. I think it's funny to get into a role like that when you're like, that's not your type of temperament. That's not the type of person that you are. And it's just funny to like, that people don't realize that these are like one-man shows that I do here. Because I like play and provide all the characters. But once I get to 1,000 followers, though, awesome. I'll be introducing some new people. So yeah, I'm glad you appreciate those, because at first I thought it was just gonna be some like one-off thing. I'm like, I'm just gonna make one of these and see how it goes. And it's always the projects, even with like crocheting and knitting, it's the stuff that I don't think is gonna do well that does well. And I'm just like,
how weird is that? The algorithm is like ridiculously hard to understand for me. I just put it up and I'm like, oh, well, there you go. Off on your own. Yeah. Hopefully no one stabs you on your way there. So
like, I seriously thought around Christmas, like, I love my little gnomes that I make, and I thought those were going to be super popular, and turns out like they were. But it was like some of my other stuff that I still liked, I made it, that ended up like being way more popular. Like my crocheted snowflakes like sold out in an hour. Like, wow. I didn't think anybody would buy those. I'm like, they're just snowflakes, but I needed something small to sell and have something on my craft tables to look pretty. Yeah. And it's just like sold out. And I was like, oh, I thought like that was not going to be a popular thing, because most people look at it like, I could buy a snowflake anywhere, but I guess not the Angela ones, because
snowflakes.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
I love those snowflakes. I can't wait for Christmas this year, so I can put them up on our tree and just be like, this is my snowflakes. They're so pretty.
We just hang them up all the time. Like,
oh yeah. I feel like I can do that.
Yeah, all year round. Yeah, do it.
I'm gonna
go do it right now. I'm just kidding.
I've heard of people who like keep their Christmas trees up like all year round
because they don't want to do it. I want to so bad.
You just have to dust it off or vacuum it. Like, obviously, don't do it with a live one. A live one will die and rot in your living room. But no, just like if you have an artificial, get an artificial one, you just have to like dust it off every so often.
Yeah. And our cat would love that.
Oh yeah, your cat would destroy it.
No, she loves the tree.
She loves the tree.
She lays under it all day.
And then gives us the worst guilt trip when we start taking it down. Oh my gosh.
And she's like, my tree.
Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, no, she loves it. It's a member of the family to her.
Oh, so Angela, do you have enough like, I think with TikTok you have to have a certain amount of followers to be able to go live?
I think it's 10,000.
Yeah, I think it's 1,000.
Oh, it's 1,000. Okay. That's why that's your goal.
Are you gonna do when you're able to do that, are you gonna like kind of simultaneously or transfer Crafts and Laughs onto there?
I haven't decided that yet, because it depends on what's the bigger platform, but hopefully, or I might do like, depending on what it might be, I might try to get into doing tutorials, like, you know, how sometimes people go live and they're like making a tutorial. So like one of my favorite channels is Dylan Hollis. He's the guy who makes he makes all the vintage recipes that are like really disgusting. But I love when he has like the live videos where he's just like baking a vintage cake like, and talking about the recipe. Yeah. I always laugh when he has the milk and he's like 2 cups of moo juice.
All right.
I'll admit it. I had the biggest crush on that guy. I still think he's really attractive, but he's a lot younger than me, and and he's also gay. I was like, of course, the good.
That's the last one. That's the last obstacle.
I heard that guy was born the same year that Saved by the Bell, the Collegers was canceled.
Oh my god. Stop reading it up.
Hey, oh, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say that was canceled the year like when I was 1. So
oh my god.
It was only on for
he's
1
younger
year.
Than,
Saved by the Bell,
he's younger. Oh, it did horrible. They almost did it, like it was so bad with the ratings that like they filmed it and they almost didn't air the rest of the season. Like that, like I think it was NBC almost pulled it off the air. Like it did so bad. And I watched it all because like during lockdown, you know, you had no life. But I didn't. It. You loved the Saved by the Bell, the college years?
Yeah, just because I liked the characters going into it so much already. I was already invested into the characters, I think. I don't know. I liked it.
I think that was like kind of the appeal, like if you watched it while it was still on TV.
And I was also like 11. Appeal. I was also like 11. So
Yeah, but also at the same time, like when you think about 11-year-olds, they're really not going to care about like their favorite characters going off to college. That's just like weird to them, I guess. So, anyways, you had another.
So wrapping up, I just want to like ask you. There's a million different ways in this world that you can craft.
Right.
So why did you go with crocheting, and what is your inspiration for the crafting?
I mean, I like to do a lot of crafts, but the thing is, it's probably the one working with yarn is probably the crafting I remember from the youngest age. Like I started learning how to knit when I was 8, but I really started taking it on more like the crocheting when I was a teenager. It was all self-taught. And I just really like working with yarn. I like the texture. I like what you can create with it. I really love making plushies and stuffed animals and designing my own dolls. And I did sewing originally. I actually sewed for a long time. That's another thing. I have a sewing machine. I have a whole nice kit and everything. My only problem with it was messy. It took a lot of time. Like projects took forever to get done. And one thing I liked about knitting and crocheting is it's portable. You can pack it up in a bag. You can take it to you with you when you travel. You can take it to the airport. You can take it when you're at comedy shows and you're waiting to go on stage, which I used to do, by the way. Nice. But then I stopped because, you have to go to bars and those are gross. Yeah. And I get hit on enough as it is, and I don't need some gross guy like, ooh, what is that? I stopped when some dumb guy came up to me once and he's like, ugh, you're knitting? That's for grandmas. And it's like, no way. By the way, it's crocheting, first of all. And no, I am not impressed. And that's rude. So, yeah, I really like, that's just like the texture in the medium I like to work with. And it's one of the, like, I've done a lot of crafts throughout my day. Oh my gosh, the felting. That was not the first time that I felt it. I realized like I had a traumatic experience learning how to felt when I was like 6, when I took a crafting class at the local library. And whoever the instructor was thought it was okay to give those giant long needles to a bunch of 6-year-old kids.
Oh my gosh, no.
I don't know if I still have it. It's probably somewhere in my parents' house, but I made a tiny little gnome. And that's probably why I love gnomes to this day, is because I worked very hard to like felt this tiny little ball of wool. And I don't know why anybody thought that was good. Like I was scared as a 3-year-old. And I even had like special gloves that I put on. And I still managed to stab myself 1,000 times through them. And I was supposed to make this cute, like little, I think it was like a rabbit wearing a hat and had a purse. I don't even know what it was supposed to be, but it was cute. And it looked like a run over roadkill possum. I actually have it in my room, but you guys can't see it right now. But it's like, it's so bad. It's a video I made.
Yeah, and I love it.
I had a friend visiting me, and at the time when I was making it, and I'm just sitting at the desk cracking up while I'm making it. And she's just like, what's so funny? And I'm like, this, it's so bad. She's like, it doesn't look bad. And I'm like, yes, it does. This is the picture, what it's supposed to look like. And it was this tiny little kit that came with 3 giant needles, a ball of wool, and the instructions had like 3 sentences in them, like, unpack the wool, take out the needles, and continuously stab it till it looks like the picture. I'm like,
yes, exactly.
Wow. That should be another thing. Like we try to attempt felting and see if we can get it to make like look like anything. I had 2 other kits, because that's the thing that I need to be careful about is I love crafting, and when I find something that I really want to try, instead of just buying like one thing to try to see if I'm even good at it. I got overzealous and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be good at this. I bought 3 felting kits thinking that it was gonna be this simple, easy thing to do. And I'm like, I am not good at this. So I remember I just like posted it. I was like, I've got 2 other felting kits. Who wants them? Just pay for shipping. I'm like, this is really cute. Homes. It's just not a craft that I enjoy. But I have the roadkill rabbit wearing a kind of looking hat with a purse. That I ended up with. Maybe that should be another show I do of crafting fails, where I just have people coming on and showing their worst craft they've ever done, because I think that's one thing that I want to drive home to, is that there's a lot of imperfections you go through before you get a craft right. There's a lot of imperfections you go through. It's just like going on stage and practicing jokes and bombing over and over again. I want to see the really bad, nasty crafts. I think if I put that out there, like, I should just have like a freestyle night where I have different people pop on and they're just on for like 2 minutes and they just talk about.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, nasty crafts,
lousy crafts, crafts and laughs, fail edition.
There you go.
Just show me the worst. What are the worst things that you've made? And it's just like, I bet it would be funny. We need to laugh at ourselves. I really do think we need to do that. And it's just okay. And like, even with me, the reason why I laugh at myself if something goes bad is just because I get so overzealous and I think it's going to be a great thing. And most of the time it is.
Yeah.
I hope that guy gets there wherever he's
going.
I
didn't know if you could hear that or not. That was loud. And it lasted for a very, very long time. Like, usually it'll be quick, but that was, I don't know if he was like just sitting outside of our house, just revving it up or what.
That was a very loud muffler. Like, I could hear that through my headphones.
Oh, he's coming back.
What's your social media, Angela?
Find me at Crafting Comedy Cart. You know how to find me. TikTok, Instagram. That's the best way to find me.
Hell yeah. And go support her TikTok.
Yeah, go give Janet DRA some love. Yes. Because maybe if people loved her more, she wouldn't be so mean.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Angela. It was super fun talking to you about the crafting and about the tour and all the fun things in life.
Yes. Thanks, guys.